に借りて悪を切る. Hey guys, Chokuretsu here with another review. This time we're taking a look at the Chokuretsu Jyuden Ken Zandar Thunder from Jyuden Sentai Kyoryu. This is Kyoryu Gold's main sidearm that makes different sounds and different attacks depending on how many Jyudenchi are used with it. So this includes two things, the Zandar Thunder and one Jyudenchi. So first up, we'll take a look at the Zandar Thunder itself. So it's this big blue and black sword with a silver blade. And again, like with the Gabri Changer, a lot of the blue plastic isn't painted too much, though it's painted a bit more than the Gabri Changer to add in some of the details. So, as you can see, the main blade is designed to look like the head of a pterosaur, just like with the Gabri Changer, with the blade part being the top jaw, this bottom part which holds Jyudenchi being the bottom jaw, this part here for an eye, and it even has been molded in sections for teeth. On the blade you can also see this big sticker that says the name Zandar Thunder on it. So basically this means there's no way that people could confuse the spelling for it. On the back you have these kind of gear parts here with gold and silver, as well as this big lever which is for the main gimmick of the toy. The creator is right here in clear red plastic. And you have the bottom here with silver paint on either side. Another switch here on the back, and you have different details on the back as well, as the light is only on one side, so the other side has the second just painted in red. And the sticker on the other side is gold with lightning running through it, as well as you have the speaker here on the back. Up here on the tip you have this kind of gun muzzle here, which is for how one of the interesting things about this is that while he doesn't normally use this as a gun, he will kind of use this as a simulated laser rifle when Raiden is combined with Parasagan and Zagutor to become Raiden Western. So this toy doesn't really have any shooting sounds of any kind. This is just a detail add in to be accurate to the show. You also have two red buttons on each side, and that's for opening up the blade. And on the bottom you have blue part with a little bit of detail and these two black parts, one with a bit of a grip to it. So now here's the Jyudenchi, which is number 23, Futabine. This is the last Jyudenchi in the numbered order, but not the last one to be released. So it's a light gray color, number 23, the symbol right there. And one of the things that is that, though it has this look where, if you're perceptive enough, you can tell that it's supposed to be its teeth overlapping each other. From the early shots, and from a distance, it kind of looks like it has its mouth sewed shut, which is a little bit creepy. We got the name on the back, Futabine. This is another made in China Jyudenchi. Have glow in dark the glow in dark sticker on this side, and brave in for the colored sticker. And so you have a light gray Futabasaurus, which was a relative of the plesiosaurs, being a long-necked aquatic dinosaur. And not too much is known about this other than the fossils, like with stuff like the Fukui raptor, were discovered mainly in Japan. So, bring in the Gabri revolver. First with the sound on its own. So there you have the normal tone. And since this came with a weapon for Kyoryu Gold, for the other tone I'll use one of his Terragordon Jidenshi. And then you have the low tone. And so next, we'll bring in Chokuretsu Jyuden. Right there. And show off the Jyuden Brave finish in Chokuretsu Jyuden. So taking out Kabuchiro's battery. And putting in through the binds. So its sound effect is bye-byeing, which is the sound of something multiplying, as that's what happens when the Fudabind Jidenshi is used on someone. Though so far it hasn't been used in the show, it seems that's only been used in Superhero Taisen Z, the sequel to last year's Superhero Taisen, the team-up, which is this year a team-up between Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, and Metal Heroes. And I'm just putting it there because that's how it's advertised. So, whether or not we'll see this being used on the show is up in the air, though we might. So getting back to the Zandar Thunder. So to start off, flute switch on like here, like so, and you'll get the on sound and the I will light up. And so to start with no Jidenshi in, pressing trigger you'll get this sound. And by pushing up the lever, you'll get this sound. Now to get the main gimmick of the toy, you have to hold these two buttons, then push down the handle to open up the mouth. And so inside you'll see 3 Jidenshi slots. So as I described in the beginning, this makes different sounds depending on how many Jidenshi on it. So we'll start with 1, 2, then 3. So we'll start with one of the Terragordon Jidenshi. Just put it in there and press it down. Then close down the mouth. We'll say Gaburincho. And then push up the lever to activate it. And so you get one sound there. And so now when you press the trigger, it makes one of two sounds. It'll say Zan. This is for the Raimei no Mai. And I will put translations for these attacks within the description as they are Japanese. Or more likely I'll put them in annotations. So then press it again. And you get that sound when you open it up. And so the way this works is actually pretty simple. You have here these 3 levers, or these 3 clear red tabs. And if you look at the inside of the blade, you have these 3 clear red buttons. So when you put in a Judenchi, it pushes forward one of the tabs, and so those will hit the buttons, and it'll make different sounds depending on how many of those tabs are hit. So for the second one, put in another Terragoran Judenchi, close it up again, activate the lever. This time it made 2 sounds, and now it has a different attack. This time it says Zandar with an electric sound. And so this is for the Raiden Shogegiha. And so for the third and final sound, open up like so. Take the third Judenchi and press down like so. Then close it up. And pull the lever again. Get 3 sounds. And this time you get you get standby music. So pulling trigger. It says Zandar Thunder with a loud special attack sound, and that's for the Brave Finish Raiden Zankou. And so another thing I want to point out is that the order in which you put in the Judenchi actually doesn't matter. It really does depend on how many you have in there. So for example, putting one Judenchi in the middle, you get the Zan sound. Or if I put one in the first slot and one in third, I get the Zandar sound. And so, because they're spaced out, it really is easiest to just use multiple Judenchi here, as you could technically just hold down the buttons with it open, but you need to figure out some way to hold down all 3 buttons, activate the lever, and then press the trigger. An interesting trick you can do is that you can have 3 in there, and then successively or consecutively activate all 3 sounds. It all depends on how much you have it closed. Holding it open a little, you can get the first sound. Closing it a little bit more, you get the second sound. And by closing it all the way, you get the third sound. Just like so. And removing them is just as easy as it is to put them in, as you have this little indent part, so you can just put in your finger, then pull it out like that. And of course you do want to insert them with the spikes up, because if you try to put them in the other way, it obviously won't fit, because it is designed smoothly like so. So you can put them in this way. Though, like with other weapons, it doesn't really matter which way you put them. You can put them this way, or flip them around and put them in this way. So, once again, another fun toy. Interestingly, this one actually seems to do a little bit more. Well, actually, it's kind of hard to compare it to the Gabri Changer, because the thing with the Gabri Changer is that it has different sounds depending on whether or not you have a Jyuden in. And it's also a unique weapon for the spring-loaded lever where you pull back and fire, and how it also has, the slashing button on the side, as well as the third button for the Nazma Rendo. On the other hand, you have this, which is, interesting because it's the only other, besides the Gabri Revolver, it's the only other toy so far where, well, putting it more specifically, it's the only roleplay toy other than the Gabri Revolver so far that can have multiple Jyuden in, and it can hold the most amount of any of the roleplay toys, or the roleplay weapons, as you also have the Mo Buckles, holding up to 3. And it is really pretty cool how these sounds change depending on how many you have in there. Of course, it's not to the specificness of the Gabri Revolver, which actually reads the batteries, but again, like with the Gabri Changer, this is also a case where it doesn't really need to have a battery reader, as the gimmick is dependent entirely on how many you have in there, not which ones. And so actually, when you take a look at this and compare it to the Gabri Caliber, it's a better toy on its own because it can hold more Jyuden, so you get more sounds out of it. Whereas with the Gabri Caliber, it's more worth it if you have the Gabri Revolver because you can combine them together. With this, of course, you get this new Jyuden, you get this cool weapon, and you have this very interesting functionality. That's also cool how, as has been a total pattern with the roleplay weapons so far, they even managed to make this into a manner where the gimmick is meant to resemble a dinosaur opening and closing its mouth, as has been part of the design for all of the roleplay weapons so far. Well, with the exception of the personal weapons for the cured users. Yeah, it's certainly a fun toy, and the thing is that, you don't need to get the Gabri Changer to get this, and you don't need to get the Zandar to get these Gabri Changer. So in that sense, this is a fun weapon all on its own. If you're looking to buy a sword weapon from cured user, unless you have the Gabri Revolver, I would definitely suggest getting this over the Gabri Caliber, because like I explained, this is more bang for your buck, as you have these different sounds depending on how many you put in. Although in that sense, I would definitely recommend only getting this if you at least have 2 more Jyuden to use with it, as like I described and like I explained, it's a little tough to cheat the system on this one and still be able to use the lever and the trigger. But considering how cheap these are, that really shouldn't be too much of a problem. And of course, like with any other occasion, if you don't like the looks of it, you don't want this weapon, you can just skip over it and wait for the Food Bind Jyuden to come out in Kanetor or Gashapon form, and then buy it that way. That being said, I definitely think this is a fun way to get that Jyuden, because it's an overall fun toy. So, recommended whether or not you're a Kyoryu Gold fan, as it's a fun toy in general. So, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and share my channel for more videos. And for now, this is Chokuretsu Jyuden, writing off.